You've probably heard about cancer spreading in someone's body. So if you look at the tumor, it's an abnormal growth of cells that usually forms a mass. Now, spreading cancer from a tumor is a very strange phenomenon in which the cells separate from the primary tumor and travel to other parts of the body and make a secondary tumor. This is the same phenomenon when the epiblast cells start to migrate downward in an embryo and make the 3 embryonic layers to make the whole body. If you look at both cancer and epiblast cells, they are strictly tied together with little intercellular space, which forms a uniform arrangement like a sheet. This keeps the cells from moving away from the layer. The top and bottom sides may look or work differently and attach to a substrate. Historically, we call this arrangement of cells epithelial cells. However, cells can show another form, which is not sticking firmly in an orderly way, so they can move more freely relative to each other. They also have a more extended and elongated shape, and they have front-to-back polarity. Unlike epithelial cells, they are called mesenchymal cells. Now for tumor cells and epiblast cells to migrate from their primary sites, they should change their transition from epithelial to mesenchymal. That's why we call this transition EMT, or epithelial to mesenchymal transition. The reverse also happens, in which cells would transition from mesenchymal forms to epithelial arrangement. That's the reason secondary or more sites of tumor form. Even in embryonic development, new structures form based on these two transitions. The epiblast cells undergo EMT, which enables them to migrate to other sites, and form secondary structures with MET. The process of epithelial to mesenchymal transition that enables cells to shift between phenotypes is remarkably complex. At the molecular level, it involves the careful coordination of numerous signaling cascades and genetic programs. A key earlier step is the breakdown of cell-cell adhesion structures like desmosomes and tight junctions. One example is the disruption of adhesion proteins such as E-cadherin. Simultaneously, interactions between the cells and the underlying basement membrane are also weakened. These changes require a whole shift in cell signaling pathways. One of the earliest events is the downregulation of epithelial adhesion molecules like E-cadherin. This protein is normally involved in calcium-dependent binding between neighboring epithelial cells. At the same time, the acting cytoskeleton undergoes remodeling to increase cell mobility, which completely changes the shape of the cells. One key signaling pathway is transforming growth factor beta, which is a major inducer of EMT. TGF-beta activates SMAD proteins that then bind to and induce a snail, a slug, and twist expression. These are considered master regulators of EMT as they can directly repress E-cadherin. Interestingly, we don't understand the process fully. Some studies suggested that these two processes are not binary, and some of the cells' transition from an epithelial to a mesenchymal state is often incomplete. These results suggested that the cells can reside in an intermediate states and retain both epithelial and mesenchymal characteristics. This partial EMT gives the cells the ability of collective migration, which means a group of cells would migrate together. In this situation, the cells at the front lead the migration and others would follow the leaders. Leader cells not only explore the tissue environment and identify the migration path, but they also significantly contribute to the direction of the followers. In addition, followers are not just following, and they also affect the leader's behavior. As a group of cells migrates through a complex microenvironment, the position of leader cells can be challenged. Consequently, leaders and followers can exchange places and roles during migration. Besides development and cancer, EMT contributes to organ fibrosis. In fibrotic diseases of the lungs, kidneys, liver, and other organs, excessive deposition of extracellular matrix proteins like collagen causes scarring and dysfunction, which we talked about in previous videos. This fibrosis was originally thought to be driven just by the activation of the resident fibroblast, but it's now clear that EMT plays a key role as well. When epithelial cells of these organs are exposed to chronic inflammation or injury, they undergo a partial EMT. This induces them to take on a fibroblast-like phenotype, allowing enhanced migration. The new fibroblast-like cells that arise from EMT overproduce collagen and other ECM components, which results in scarring. Understanding EMT in its full complexity has real therapeutic potential. Researchers make great improvement in understanding the basics of EMT, but this shape-shifting process still holds many mysteries.